Good morning, everyone. This is the Economic Development Advisory Board meeting for April 18th. May I have a roll call?
Thomas Blonde.
Here.
Tim Davis. Carl Lentz.
Here.
Carol Killian.
Here.
Lawrence McDermott.
Here.
Ruth Traeger.
Here.
Bishop Barrett Triplett. We have a quorum.
Great. May I call for an approval of the minutes from February 15th?
So moved.
Second.
Lentz.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Good.
We have our reports, Mr. Phil.
Okay,
This
I
is going to
will
be your last time, unfortunately.
officially.
It's swan song.
Officially. Now, one thing I'm not is a swan.
More like an ugly
Muscovy
duckling.
duck, maybe, but nevertheless, okay. Carrie is not here because that's the Leadership Daytona panel on economic development is this morning, and so she is there, and Rob Earhart sitting on the panel along with Dr. Sharples. Those are always fun things to do for any of those who have participated in it. It's usually a real eye opener for a lot of the people who participate in the community. I think everybody should do it. As far as economic development is concerned, our primary thing that we need to, well, first we started talking about LPGA, the Symetra Tour, used to be the Futures Tour, and we put something we hope is going to work. I know that there's a lot of other things going on regarding the LPGA with the city and leases and all the rest of that stuff, because it is very important that we show our support. I mean, any community in the country would love to have the LPGA headquarters there. I mean, so we do want to support it. The county did commit $25,000 to the Symetra Tour. We are tentatively have picked three tournaments that we will use for economic development and recruiting in partnership with Team Volusia and the CEO Business Alliance. Basically, the first one's the end of June in Decatur, Illinois. And for those who volunteer to go play golf as ambassadors, we'll get the information to you and see if that fits your schedule. We'll give you all the information to see if it fits your schedules to do that.
Does the city get some spots? In the Pro-Am, does the city get any spots?
It's not a question of spots. What we do is we use a outside firm we generate a list.
Oh, okay.
They then go contact companies in the area, and somewhere around the second call, if they have expressed interest in relocating and would like more information, then we will invite them to see if they'd like to play in the Pro-Am. We just don't want people who want to go play. I mean, these spots are worth some money, and the sponsor of whoever the sponsor of the tournament is normally sells those Pro-Am spots, but the LPGA has an arrangement that we can block out so many. Now we can't, let's say, get 5 foursomes. We make last year one tournament we could only get 2. So what we do is we can take 3 prospects, an ambassador, which we like to have play along, which is somebody from the area to pitch them. So they come in. They sort of have to do a timeshare spiel, listen to a little spiel. Then they go get their lunch and go play golf, meet their pro, go play golf. And then we chat with them a little bit afterwards. So the whole idea is to use the fact that it's an attraction as a come on. It worked pretty well last year, actually. We were late getting out of the box, but we did get 5 companies who actually played golf. We had 2 more companies who did not wish to play golf, but they did meet with. So it was 7. It was pretty good deal, and they're still alive. None of those have canceled. So we're working on that with them. We're not quite sure who or how. All the details are just starting to come together as far as that. Team Volusia, for those who follow it, has formed. There's been a lot of confusion over the last couple of years, primarily because of going all the way back to Metro Daytona as to who was going to do what. And, they came out of the box, they were going to do everything. Well, that didn't work. And a lot of the stuff in Team Volusia, in their program of work and in their bylaws, basically still says they'll do recruiting, business assistance. They'll do everything that everybody does. So we agree that's not the direction to go. We agree that verbally, at least, everyone's pretty much on the same page, that Team Volusia, the CEO Business Alliance, should focus on recruiting. Leave the business assistance and retention and so on to the county. You have the local chambers of commerce who are very actively involved in some of that, as well as the city. So let people do best what they do. So a task force has been formed, which represents city, chambers, county, Team Volusia, Daytona State College, Mary Bruno's on it, and Sands Lassiter from the private sector. Those of you who know, he's a planner. He loves to make big drawings. Nevertheless, so that's starting to move forward, and it's very interesting because everybody does want success. And when you get a good group of people in the room who have a common goal, and chambers are represented, so you'll start to see the beginning of that probably at the Team Volusia Executive Committee on Friday. And they'll are basically going to talk about that we're fine-tuning this. The goal of the task force is to create a matrix which basically covers the various elements that people view in connection with economic development, whether it's retail for a small business or a doctor or a small office, commercial, or large industrial. The matrix will basically say who in the community is the go-to for that particular issue, so that everyone knows, cities, everyone knows that if you have this kind of a project, here's the go-to person. For this, you go to Team Volusia. For this, you go to the county. And then on the inside of that basically will be all the contact information. So it'll be something that I think, in a way, Emery and I have worked on this before. It's going back in a big circle back to the way and the relationship we had when the Business Development Partnership was here, where the chambers took care of a lot of the small stuff because they're going to be chamber members. If somebody has an inquiry about opening a store, that's a potential chamber member, and we obviously want to feed and keep the chamber involved. They draw on other resources as they need to. So I think it's going in the right direction. I think you'll see some interesting results out of that task force over the next couple of months. On the business side, we have one company out in DeLand that's trying to make their decision as to what they're going to do. They'll be moving from Long Island. There's a few others kicking around. What we're doing, by the way, is that basically the county is we are turning almost all of our lead stuff prospects over to Team Volusia. And they in turn split them up with the CEO Alliance, as the case may be. We're still the designated economic development organization for Enterprise Florida. That's because the incentives have to come out of the county, the money. And but basically we're starting to move things around to make it operate smoother. So we're staying on with the ones that we've had that we've been working for a year or so. We'll still do that and gradually bring them into it. But the whole idea is shift all the recruiting over to them and let them run with it. That includes trade shows, site selector visits, all the rest of that. We're getting out of it. Fits nicely with our budget constraints going forward as well. We'll all have these issues.
Silver lining.
Nobody's happy more, and so we're doing that. I know Emery's involved. I'll mention AO Precision. AO Precision has purchased the land adjacent to them to the east. And they are going to be making a huge addition onto their plan. Somewhere around $30 million was the number of the last time.
You're going to join the two buildings together, aren't they?
Yes. We're going to build another building and connect the whole thing together. So that's huge for the city of Daytona Beach. I think that's great. I did meet with, I don't know, are you aware of what's going on with PNS Paving?
No.
Okay, PNS Paving has purchased 12 acres adjacent to them.
Uh-huh.
And they have been meeting with the city planning folks. Paul probably knows about that. We've been out talking to them. They want to, they have a new process in order to make a subbase where they use the old asphalt. They've got more old asphalt than they know what to do with. They can use a certain amount in new asphalt, but it's piling up. So they've come up with a plan where they can mix that with the old asphalt, grind it up and mix it with crushed rock. And they're going to be doing some sample projects with DOT to change the spec to allow that to be used as subbase on the highways. Now they're redoing I-4, I-95's coming up, so this is pretty important. You're looking at probably 30 to 50 jobs over a period of a couple of years. Say 30 will be that. They're going to be spending a couple $1,000,000 just on the piece of equipment that will do the blending, and then they have crushers. So we've talked to them about what possibilities there are. The wages are probably not high enough for any of the state incentives, but we always have the brownfield the opportunity. We have the ability to deal with them with training. So I have been working with Todd Phillips on that. So that'll be a good one. And but they will annex. That land would get annexed into the city. Am I correct, Paul? And then rezoned from agricultural. They're buying it from Consolidated Tomoka. It's not.
Now,
in the
where
city.
is this?
P&S Paving is on Olson Drive. If you go out 92 to Indian Lake Road, and then you go up Indian Lake Road opposite where the county's vehicle place is Olson Drive. That's where the school board is.
Oh,
It's right across the street from the school board.
Okay.
So that's a major commitment, and I think that's however it is, jobs are jobs. And it would be nice to do that, but I think they're a pretty important part of the community. So that's pretty much cooking there. And the last word I had, I will share, is that the lease agreement for the new building for Teledyne is it's out at the headquarters, and they're anticipating that is going to get signed, which will be the official go for the construction of the new building
Oh, great.
for Ocean Design. So,
Very good.
and other than that, I haven't done anything.
The devil's in the details. You might have
Yes.
I had a couple of questions. Phil, will the county still maintain the property listing map, or will that go over to Team Volusia? I know they're.
No, we will. We're doing it jointly.
Uh-huh.
What's happening is that we've broken the actual property listing database, and for those who are coming on Thursday, we're having the Realtors Lunch. We'll explain that it's been broken out of the Team Volusia website. It's now standalone. You don't want to necessarily try to access it by yourself because it's not ready for that. But that will allow MLS data to feed into it, Team Volusia's data to feed into it, and our data to feed into it. So anybody can go enter properties either from the Team Volusia site or from our site or from the MLS. And if a city wants to link to it and pay for, let's say, software, and say, well, if you look for this, we're only going to show you the properties in Ormond Beach, kind of thing, But they'll be able to do that as well. So it's something that we originally had talked about, was sort of drifted away, but we're back on that now. And we're having a luncheon for the commercial realtors on Thursday. Hopefully you guys are coming. And we're going to talk about just some of the stuff I talked about, and the website in detail. So.
And one last question was, any word on the Team Volusia executive director search?
It's on hold. Part of it, and
What
some
do you
of
mean
us,
on hold? They're not doing it right now?
they've stopped the search process.
Okay.
And the reason they did was they suddenly realized that we're off and running, quick, we're going to find somebody. And then in the process of doing that, they realized that, what is this person going to do? And if you show them the stuff that says that they're responsible for business assistance and business retention, all the stuff that they don't want to do, it was a little confusing. So it became obvious that they better clean up their act first before they decide where it's going to go. There's also been, and I don't, it's in a very general stage about, there has been talk, and it will come out at the executive committee meeting on Friday. There is some talk going on about merging Team Volusia and the CEO Business Alliance. That's a lot of issues involved there, because there has to be some way to figure out how to get them out of the sunshine.
Right.
And with the city, so there has to be some restructuring. But it seems to make sense. They work very closely together right now. They're duplicating space. They're duplicating a lot of stuff. So, and they work well together. So I don't know where that's going to go.
Okay. Anything else? Any other questions? Comments?
Nope.
Thank you, Phil. Well, you kind of gave us a report on everybody. Daytona Vision?
Yeah, we had a very successful, in March, a very successful healthcare symposium. And the question was, who is it that is serving the uninsured working people? Okay. And we had, a white paper was done by Miss Barnes, Francine Barnes, which showed, I think it was 29,000 people just in the Daytona Beach area were working people that had no health insurance. So we had about 60 people, 60 healthcare related. And I mean, it wasn't set up to have 300 people. We were 50 to 60 was a good number. We had a panel of experts from Jacksonville and Spaceport that represented Volunteers in Medicine and different other organizations that do assistance programs. Most of them referral assistance for doctors to do pro bono work. And up in Jacksonville, they have a group that actually has, I don't know how many doctors, hundreds of doctors that do 1 or 2 procedures a month, and they spread it all out, and they're able to service a lot of different people with different health problems. And so we were trying to model something for that in this area. We had some surprises, and that we found that there's more going on than we thought, and both on the east side and especially the west side of the county. And as you all know, we always have to look at things 3 different ways because there's 3 different taxing districts. So anyway, we're going to follow up with that. We've got about 12 to 14 people on a subcommittee that's going to follow up with that. As far as economic development, there's Mr. McKittrick. Is there a meeting in your office at 3 o'clock tomorrow on the train? Or today, I mean. Is there a meeting at your office today at 3 o'clock on the train?
Actually, we had 2 meetings in the last week.
Yeah, because Pat Drago, did she contact you?
Yeah, we did appoint a couple of folks from the division.
Yeah, Pat Drago and...
Good morning.
Good
yeah.
morning.
Pat came in, I believe it was last week, I think it was last Friday.
Yeah.
And we had scheduled it for last Friday because we were thinking that before Pat got there, we'd have an opportunity to talk to Jim Cameron and some consultants from East Central Florida. That first meeting got canceled, so we had kind of a preliminary conversation with Pat. We had a much longer meeting with city staff and Jim Cameron and these consultants Monday afternoon, I think it was. And I need to come back to Pat and fill her in. Are you going to go ahead and talk about some of the critical dates with Amtrak?
Yes. Well, let's
Thank
see
you,
if I
Paul.
can.
Thank you. But there's no
Don't go
meeting.
away.
There's no meeting at 3 o'clock here in your.
There's no
okay.
meeting at 3 o'clock. That meeting's already happened.
Okay.
Where we are with Amtrak is we're still kind of waiting for some more information. I can't recall when the date. I think the money will be available to be spent. I want to say in 2013. Before that time, we could upfront purchases of land or materials or what have you, but there's no clear signal out of Tallahassee, for example, that the $118 million is all going to be there, and what the $118 million that's in the state budget can be used for. We are anxiously anticipating more information.
I guess what Pat was had brought up at the last vision meeting centered around the development orders in that area, so that by natural fall of demand that created by the train station, that there would be a business expansion in that area and help. It's downtown, right? Downtown.
Yes.
And be able to help that area to grow.
Is the space still questionable? Because I thought it was.
Yeah, the kind of conversation we had with Pat and with city staff, we've actually had a number of kind of internal conversations about this, is people are pointing at Sunrail and they're looking at what the planners call TODs, which are transportation-oriented developments that surround these stations. Again, the level of passenger activity on Sunrail is going to be considerably different than what's been proposed for the FEC Amtrak. And as we talked the other day, and again, I'm looking for some sort of report that I guess is being updated currently. While the train will go through Daytona Beach once or twice a day, they're talking about really a station that for the most part is unmanned, not staffed, and really has seasonal peaks in business. They have other stations along the track, I think St. Augustine and Jacksonville, where the demand is significantly higher, and they're going to have business partners, and TOD seem like a reasonable way to surround the station with residential and mixed-use developments to complement the station. But frankly, I don't know that that's the kind of station that we're going to have in the city of Daytona Beach, according to their first study, which again is being updated. If we have seasonal business during February for Speed Week and Bike Week, maybe we get some spring breakers in March. But then again, we have lots of highs and lots of lows, which is kind of typical of our tourist industry. It may be hard to convince adjacent property owners to voluntarily agree to a downzoning. See, this is where things get tricky. For 100 years, the railroad tracks have been surrounded by industrial zoning. Technically, it's M1 zoning. M1 zoning has the widest variety of uses of any zoning district that we have in the book. To unilaterally go in and, Larry, you'll understand this, downzone your property and take away property rights from you is a very thorny legal issue.
Is there a way to create like a PUD of some sort?
Again, if we've got the property owners on board, then we can do all that.
Huh?
If we have property owners who are cooperative, who can see a vision that through this rezoning and through the development of this transit-oriented development, they will be able to prosper and profit. Again, the Magnolia location, a lot of property is for sale, but not all the property is for sale. And what they did in the train station assessment is they took the entire block from Orange to ISB and Seagrave to just west of the tracks, as if all of that was available for conversion to this train station and the surrounding uses. Well, some of it is. I mean, the old Dunn Lumber, there's some other property for sale, but not all of it. We can't go and exercise eminent domain for this. That's not going to happen. So one of the big question marks is that the consultant, when pressed repeatedly, finally admitted that there will be perhaps $2 million available to every location for the acquisition of property and for the construction of this train station. And oh, by the way, the construction cost estimate on the train station is a minimum of $1.5 million. Okay, so obviously, if the city of Daytona Beach wants to do it right, then we're going to have to dig it into our own pocket for $1 million or more.
Have you thought about it using an existing building like the Dunn Lumber building, and are doing a remodel on that rather than a full tilt?
Actually, their model is hardly any building.
I know it's
Their
like,
model
what,
is a
1,500
1,000-foot
Yeah.
platform.
Yeah.
That again, the train stops and anybody anywhere on the train can get off onto the platform.
So is it a covered structure or just a platform?
It's.
You don't know.
I think it's sort of like the I don't know if you've been to the DeLand. It's just a platform.
Yeah.
A small portion of it is covered.
Yeah. Huh.
It has to be staffed when a passenger embarks or disembarks, because only a staff person can get the luggage.
Oh.
It's like a union.
Yeah. Well,
I guess maybe.
So it seems like the more we dig, the more obstacles we
So
run
it's a
into.
long
And it's
process.
not, I don't want to give the impression we're negative about it, but in the beginning, it was like you're getting a free train station, we're buying the land, we're doing everything, we're just going to hand you the keys, all you have to do is maintain the building. It's more complicated than that.
So it's definitely a long process.
Now, there was something happening on April 28th, where the governor had to sign a transportation bill.
That's correct. The governor's signing a transportation bill that inks in the liability coverage that was such a thorny issue. So that is presumably solved. And then the next thing that will happen will be there will be negotiation between Amtrak and FEC about track usage and what have you, and all that. Those times have to be negotiated and what have you. And then after that, then cities and counties will be kind of, okay, here's the word is go, here's what you're going to have to do, and here's what is going to be available to you. There's also another expense that has to come out of the $2 million, and there are significant track improvements along the rail. So,
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know the term, but again, to allow for the passenger train, there has to be a second track constructed, so that if the train is stopped, another train can go by.
oh, God.
Sidecar.
Oh, my goodness.
There used to be sidecar over there.
Yeah.
And it,
I think
you
the
sure-
land's there, which is a
Yeah,
good
you
thing.
sure still not, there's not a sidecar
I
there?
think there's some of that there.
Yeah, because
I
there
wonder
used to
that
be one
was-
right there at Dunn's.
yes.
Yeah, so but it may not be long enough for the train. They may have to extend it. It used to be enough there. These trains are so long nowadays that 1-2 block area is not going to hold a train.
Well, and what's happened since, as I recall during the conversation with the city commission on possible sites, in my mind, the second best site was the old Scotty's on George Ingram. That wasn't seriously considered then because it was occupied. It's not occupied anymore. Property's for sale. Here you got a single owner with a lot of frontage. So, I don't know that Emory's warmed up to the idea, but I think that one of the things that we want to do is revisit where the train station would be if this really starts to come together, because maybe there's an easier option than the old Magnolia location.
Okay.
I'm fine with the second location. The concern would be the train station was supposed to connect to downtown, and you get a little bit further away from downtown. That was the only concern.
Yeah, they wanted to be able walkable. It was walkable.
Anyway,
Thanks,
Yeah, so
Bob.
all of this is going to happen if we, as a city, start to do more. I mean, the way that we're doing, the way that you're trying to do now, and then increase the meetings and see what the city can actually come up with to help to move the process along, or are we just at their whim,
I think at this point we need to react to what happens in Tallahassee.
react instead of
When we
okay.
find out that the arrangements have been made between DOT and Amtrak, and then they turn to us, I think
Okay.
then that's going to be the time that we have a clearer idea of what kind of facility they're going to require. And a lot of that, apparently there's still a debate about design speed for the trains. If it's 90 miles an hour, then this is the station. If it's 79, it's that kind of station. So they're still talking about that.
So we're really definitely in a reactionary mode, just kind of keep up with the details until we know we just jump in and do something.
But I think people need to prepare themselves
Yes.
for the inevitable city investment. It's
Right.
not going to be a free ride.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the key here is, I think, we've been named as one of the stops. If we had to actually, if they said, well, we're going to have 5 stops, we want you to bid on it, then I think that would be we'd have to be much, much more proactive.
Yes.
Okay? So, in a way, we have to still be proactive in a reactive way. We have to be prepared,
Mm-hmm.
okay, for, different things as they'll come up, different...
Well, I think
choices.
that was the message from Pat Drago the other day,
Yeah.
who's a strong advocate for the rail system. I think she loves trains. I think it's kind
Well,
of a personal thing.
she's representing the Vision Foundation. I want
Right.
you to make that clear.
She is
Okay.
absolutely...
It's not just personal.
Well, but I think Pat she brings a lot of land use experience.
Yes.
And as soon as it came up, I mean, things started flowing out of her, just out of her head. That was just,
Yeah.
that's the reason why I said, you're in charge. Because I just don't know that, it's not my strength, okay? But I think here that she wants to be prepared for the action type of situation that's going to occur in this thing. And it's very, very fortunate that we have been named, because if we would have been a bidding process, I think that, I know New Smyrna would love to have a station, and Bunnell is also, Mr. Martinez up there has been very proactive in trying to get a stop of some sort.
All good points.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Anything else on the foundation? How's the website? Did you get that going while I was gone?
It has been paid for.
Okay, good.
I don't know about whether it's going.
Okay. Well, then I'll check with it.
Yeah, Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have an active, ongoing website shortly for the foundation, so more information will be coming forward. So, anything else? Questions? Comments? Do we have old business?
No. I guess we'll take care of it under new business.
I have
Okay.
a question for Amy real quick. We
Yes.
talked in the past about going and visiting the incubator, the UCF incubator. Is that still something that we're contemplating?
We can,
Be happy to arrange that.
Yeah, we did talk about that 2 or 3 months ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
I must have missed that or forgot about it, I apologize.
Well, that's okay.
The tour of the incubator, what I would, if you'd like to do that, maybe get one of your meetings, you could have the meeting at the incubator.
Oh, that'd be a great idea.
We got a couple months to our next meeting, so we're not meeting in the middle of July, so.
Well, I
That's
think
what we do then.
wherever, I would also be happy to work at, if you're gonna go to the incubator, to get a tour of the next gen, FAA next gen facility, which is right next door.
Why don't
That'd
we
be
try to
perfect.
plan that for our next month instead of a meeting here?
May
Just plan
16th.
that date, get around that date, Phil, and see what you can do.
Every,
May 16th.
May 16th, we did July one.
I'll have to go to that one.
all right.
That sounds great, yeah. If we get that arranged, that'd be wonderful.
Just please send out a reminder notice.
Yeah.
I will.
Okay, new business?
New business. I'd like to start off and say that Phil and I wanted to note that I do have his name correct on this agenda. Phil and I have worked well over the past years in economic development. He's been as much of a colleague as a friend and mentor in the business. And just personally, I'm going to miss him a great deal. And he says he's not going to Hawaii, or sorry, he's not moving to Hawaii.
You better stay here.
So I've impressed upon him
My tax dollars are.
that I'm going to be calling upon him like the consigliere in The Godfather. So, and we still do have an important meeting tomorrow, which I'll update you on and see if we can get some of your tutelage prior to your, I guess, retirement. You're leaving us. So anyway, just thanks, Phil, for all your help over the years.
My pleasure.
Ditto, Phil. It's been really wonderful, and I know you're not going away, so, but I appreciate all your help over the years on this board, and I'm sure everyone else will ditto that. So thank you very, very much. We ought to have a gift for him or something.
Yeah, well,
Gee.
he has to come back to another meeting for us.
Okay.
How about that?
That'll work. I'm not worried about that. I love what I do, but there comes a time as in everybody's life when you got to make some important changes.
Now, who do you think will fill your seat here for us?
I'm not really sure. We've had, a number of the guys, they're all good. Paul is
Pedro's
all
been
Pedro
here.
And Rob Earhart, I'm not sure the final decision as to what happens within the department has not yet been made or approved or whatever, but, so that will have to depend on him.
Okay.
But this has always been, it's interesting, you really were the very first economic development advisory board in the county, whether you realize it or not.
Right, now we,
And I find it fascinating that now that so many of the other cities are emulating you, it's good. It's a good thing. It's a good thing that it involves the community in terms of looking forward, the visioning and that kind of thing. And so, because we go to all of them, so I'm not really sure how they're going to divide it up. That has been a little bit of a challenge for us because we're small. And when you have one in DeLand, and one in Deltona, and one in DeBarry, and one in Orange City, and New Smyrna Beach, and Edgewater, and Ormond, so we divide it up. So.
well, thank you again so much. So, any other comments, questions?
Just recognize that our city manager, Jim
Yes, I
Chisholm,
was just going to do that.
and assistant city manager, Betty Goodman, are in the audience.
Mr. Chisholm, do you want to come up and say a few words?
I really have nothing.
Okay.
He's a man of few words.
Thank you so much for coming, and we also have our
Hey,
assistant.
when is the fish house? When is
City manager,
Yeah,
Betty
assistant
Goodman.
city manager.
when's the crab shack open?
That's, I'll come up here and talk about
See, we had to drag
So,
him up here.
we have
Would
to
you
ask
like
you.
to come up and talk also?
Unaccustomed as you are. Betty's done a great
Bill.
job, you don't know, with the job fair.
Oh, good.
And I think there's about 300 people now are employed that weren't employed at that time, and probably a lot more before it's over with, because we had 33, groups that participated.
I will mention, sir, that that was also a project of this board. We
Great.
helped to put that job fair on.
Right.
That's great. I tell you, it was real successful. In fact, we're talking about doing another one
Oh, great.
in the summertime, because there are jobs out there, and it's trying to match the people and the jobs is really the key. And some people, including the employers, don't know where they're going to find the staff. The days of advertising, and I mean, it's a new world on how you entice somebody to come to work for you. Anyhow, that's a pleasant thing, and Joe's Crab Shack's a pleasant thing too. We're wrapping up some of the final parts of that puzzle, the parking areas, and now we're down to have valet parking. How's that going to work? And working out some of those details with Joe's, and they're going to be running a little bit behind. We're hoping. I know it's not something I can release to the press because they haven't told me, but we know they're running 2 or 3 weeks behind right now.
Oh, okay.
And so it's not going to happen exactly as they planned initially. I mean, it's a lot. You don't think about it, but that's a very complicated site to put a business on, particularly of the size we're putting out there.
Sure.
And when you get to working into the issues of solid waste, waste, and power and water and all those things, and then you look at that's a facility that's going to serve potentially 700 people every day, including 200 staff people.
Wow.
So, you're bucking right at 1,000 people out there on a daily basis, and you got to have all the resources for that. So it's I think when I started this, I had no idea it was going to balloon into what it is, but at the same time, I have no regrets because I think it'll be really a landmark that not only is perpetuated, it's one that is going to stimulate a lot of growth in that area.
Well,
Great.
I think we're all anxious to see that open here after all this time.
I tell you what, we've kind of been, as you know, we follow that very closely. So to see it evolve is kind of amazing. And there's some unique things about this operation that aren't normal in restaurant operations. And in the end, we're anxious to see how all that's going to work out. They're doing a thing called a digester, which is it takes and converts waste to liquid and dispose of it liquidly in a liquid fashion.
Oh my gosh.
So it's a real. I mean, this project is the flagship for Joe's Crab Shack, and it's probably more than a flagship. It's probably the new version of what they're going to be putting out. They haven't said that to us, but this is not the normal Crab Shack that you see.
Let me remind you, these meetings are taped, are recorded.
That's okay.
That's all right.
That's all right. I haven't said anything I don't
You haven't
regret.
set a date yet, right?
No, I wish we could, but we're not quite there. There are just some things that have to be done, and
Just as a side note, I was in Houston over the past couple of weeks, and Joe's Crab Shack and their headquarters, are there, and they're talking about doing the same. Well, I don't know that for sure, but opening something similar in Galveston.
I would imagine.
So
It's a-
this could be the template for
Yeah.
other things going on.
There are a number of locations. There are in Texas, and in the Texas coast, there's a number of locations that really you could take this and put it in those locations. Galveston's one,
Right.
South Padre Island's another one. There's several down there. Corpus Christi.
Great.
So we're the first of many things when it comes to
Really?
what's happening.
Yeah.
But y'all do a great job, and we appreciate all your efforts and your participation, and really your input from time to
Thank you for
time.
coming this morning.
All right, thank
It's
you.
my pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments here, questions?
I'd just like to say that I would like, when we do have that Amtrak, if we could have it like a destination station like we were talking about before. I don't know who else we would have to try to get on board to do that, but I think it would be very very good to make it a destination station. And also about Joe's Crab Shack, whether they could make it like an experience, even if they have to park off-site and like golf carts or something, make it a special ride or whatever.
Good comments, uh-huh.
Good.
I do ask you, can you give us a brief update? There should have been an old business on the Brownfield and where we are, because we're supposed to be staying up to speed on some of this, I guess.
I'll have Jim Sloan come before us and make
Okay.
a report. Pretty much, we are still looking at cleaning up that site.
Okay.
And my information is that they've tried a couple things, and some strategies are better than others. It's better than that we've had in the past, but I'm not sure we've found the solution yet.
Okay.
It's cranking up to be more expensive than we contemplated, and so we're looking for other good strategies that are not so expensive.
All right, thank you. Any other business? Citizens?
Yes. You mentioned Joe's Crab Shack just prompted me to share that you probably have already noticed that the Cancun Lagoon building is gone. And
Oh,
the
that's
new
right.
Outback, the new Outback will be coming very quickly. It is still their timetable to have it open by the July race.
Oh, really?
Are they going to discontinue the one over,
Yes.
the one that's
Yeah.
there now?
Yeah, but the new one is a very modern, really attractive design, and it will be open to March.
How long is that lease? That's a land lease
It's
for?
a land lease, yeah, because I forgot what the terms are. I've never really got into that, because it's FAA. The FAA gave the property, and those leases are weird, but it makes sense for a restaurant operation, but they have to reappraise the value, and the lease changes every so many years. It makes it difficult for an industrial use, but for somebody like a restaurant or something, it makes it a little more sense.
Well, who owns that land? You say it's a lease? Who's?
The county owns it, right?
The county owns
The
it?
county owns the land, the
Okay.
FAA deeded the land to the county
Oh, okay.
under certain terms and conditions because it was all originally government land.
Oh.
And so they're very specific about certain areas, certain different parcels as to how and what the terms are as far as that land being used. There's not any real restriction on the use, but there is some interesting stuff. Because if they have to reappraise and adjust the rent every 5 years for a lot of that, and that makes it really difficult for a long-term business owner to figure out what the hell does this cost. I mean, it's like saying have to pay for it every 10 years or however many it is. And
Is
so,
it Olive Garden under the same?
yes. Yeah. In fact,
Excuse
their
me, I
lease-
didn't mean-
No, that's okay. Their lease comes up for renewal. So I don't think the airport people aren't too concerned. That's one of the top performing Olive Gardens in the country, so we're
Wow.
pretty happy with that.
Yeah. All right. Anything else? Call for adjournment?
There's a new sign.
Oh, you have one?
At the airport.
Right.
Say again?
There's a new sign. The airport's gonna have a whole new sign.
Oh, good.
At the entrance on Speedway.
Well-
I've only seen a picture of it, or the rendering, so.
Because that sign's been there for quite a while.
Yeah, it needs a lot of repair, and I guess the cost to try to repair it was just about the cost of the new sign. So.
Good.
So there were some trees blocking it on the west side. They're all gone. Speedway took them all away. So
Well, good. Anything else? We'll see you hopefully next month at our little tour. Okay.
Okay, great. Thanks,
Meeting
Bill.
adjourned.